Hey NFL fans, before we dive into today's hottest stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. From NFL News Now, Sunday night at AT&T Stadium in Arlington was a scene of quiet devastation for the Dallas Cowboys, as owner and general manager Jerry Jones emerged with a heavy heart and an unfiltered message to fans, players, and the organization as a whole. It's very disappointing. I'm really obviously very disappointed for our fans, Jones admitted after watching the Cowboys fall to the Minnesota Vikings, leaving Dallas with a 6-7-1 record and effectively eliminating them from wild-card playoff contention. The sting of the loss was more than just a number on a scoreboard. It represented shattered hopes, missed opportunities, and a glaring reflection of a season that has not lived up to expectations. I'm disappointed for these players. I didn't expect that. I thought we could come out here and on both sides of the ball make a better accounting of ourselves. Minnesota did the best job out there on both sides of the ball, Jones said, his voice carrying the weight of unfulfilled aspiration and the responsibility of leadership. Despite the grim reality, the Cowboys technically retain a slim playoff prayer, though it borders on impossible for Dallas to secure a postseason berth. They would have to string together 3 consecutive victories, while simultaneously hoping the Philadelphia Eagles stumble in each of their remaining 3 games, effectively surrendering the NFC East crown. The Cowboys' schedule is daunting, a matchup against the 10-4 Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday, followed by a short-week clash with the 4-10 Washington Commanders on Christmas Day, and finally a season-ending showdown with the 2-12 New York Giants on January 4th. The Eagles, in contrast, face Washington on Saturday night, travel to Buffalo to take on the 10-4 Bills on December 28th, and then square off against the Commanders in Week 18's finale on January 4th. The permutations are complex, the odds are steep, and the reality is that the Cowboys are staring at a postseason that is likely out of reach. Despite the lingering possibility, first-year head coach Brian Schottenheimer echoed the sentiment of disappointment after the Vikings' defeat, openly admitting the need for accountability and self-reflection within the coaching staff. "I'm disappointed," Schottenheimer said candidly. "We didn't play well against Detroit in Week 14. I really do think we're beating ourselves quite a bit, and that starts with us as a coaching staff. It's always going to start with me and the things that I messed up and didn't do very well. Brian Flores, the Vikings defensive coordinator, was better than me." Schottenheimer's words reveal a blunt self-assessment and a recognition that coaching decisions, preparation, and adjustments are inextricably linked to the outcomes on the field. Quarterback Dak Prescott also shared his sense of surprise and frustration, underscoring his commitment to leading by example despite the mounting challenges. "I was definitely surprised by the loss," Prescott admitted, reflecting on the stakes and expectations of the contest. "Nothing's going to change for me, and that's going to be my influence as a leader. My message to anybody around me is take pride in who you are as a man, and who you are as a football player and the job responsibility that you have, which entails giving your best every day. And if you don't, you probably won't be in this league for long." Prescott's statement serves as a reminder that professional accountability, leadership, and personal integrity are central to the fabric of a team struggling to find its way in the late stages of a season. The Vikings' 30-20-6 victory on Sunday Night Football brought the Cowboys' defensive shortcomings into sharp focus, with many fans calling for the dismissal of defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. J.J. McCarthy, the Vikings quarterback, torched the Cowboys' defense for a career-high 150 passing yards, throwing to touchdown passes and rushing for another, exploiting a Dallas secondary that had been inconsistent throughout the season. McCarthy himself acknowledged his growing comfort in the role, citing experience and familiarity as key factors in his performance, stating, "I think just experience. Getting to my 8th game and just feeling more and more comfortable in the pocket. Seeing the defenses, I'm just another piece of the puzzle." For Dallas, however, there were no excuses. Adjustments were expected, responses were necessary, and the failure to execute left fans and management alike searching for answers. Jones expressed his frustration with the defensive performance, emphasizing the need for strategic adjustments with the 3 remaining games in mind. "The adjustments that we should be making defensively should be with these next 3 games in mind," he said, recognizing the limited time to right the ship, with 3 games left in the short time that we've got to play them in. That will impact any adjustments you make regarding coaching with the time frame we're dealing with. That's a legit question. The comments hint at internal evaluations, potential changes, and the looming question of whether Eberflus' tenure in Dallas may be approaching its conclusion. The Vikings, averaging 179 yards per game and ranking 5th lowest in the league defensively, still managed to amass 327 yards and score their second highest point total of the season against the Cowboys, a testament to both Minnesota's preparation and Dallas' inability to contain a team that had previously been modest in its production. I'd like to play better defense, and at the end of the day, that's what he does. Jones reflected on Eberflus' performance from the standpoint, I know Matt, of course, individually, since he's coached here for many years. But I thought we made some adjustments. They handled it pretty good, if you notice. The Vikings' defensive style is that they get up, put a lot up by the line of scrimmage to look at, and then they mix it up. Kind of take some out and put some in while it's all going on. We do it differently philosophically. There's one the day. Coach Schottenheimer added his perspective, pointing to the need to eliminate big plays, generate pressure on the quarterback, and ultimately play better as a cohesive unit. I felt like we gave up to many explosives. Schottenheimer said, these guys play hard. They played a really physical game. But at the end of the day, we have to play better as a football team and got to get more pressure on the quarterback. Got to get them on the ground. I don't think we played well enough to win. The language of accountability, self-assessment, and performance shortfall echoed throughout the Cowboys organization, framing a narrative of a team that has underachieved relative to expectations. Offensively, Prescott delivered 194 passing yards on 23 completions out of 38 attempts, but he failed to throw a touchdown pass for only the third time this season. The ground game provided a spark, with Javonte Williams rushing 15 times for 91 yards and 1 score. Yet Dallas struggled to sustain drives and convert opportunities into points, with kicker Brandon Aubrey missing the field goals following an early touchdown in the second quarter. Prescott acknowledged the shared responsibility, emphasizing that professional standards demand effort and focus, noting, "You're a professional football player. You've got to come to work and give your best regardless. Unfortunately, I'm sure the playoffs are out of the picture, but it's about taking pride in who you are as a man. And not only that, in your job. And everything that's gotten you to this point." Receivers, too, failed to rise to the occasion. George Pickens, who has been inconsistent in the Cowboys' critical games, totaled only 3 catches for 33 yards in a performance that raised questions about his role and potential contract considerations. Analyst Gilberto Manzano of Sports Illustrated highlighted the financial implications, warning that overcommitting to Pickens' salary could jeopardize the team's cap flexibility, especially with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott commanding significant contracts. Pickens' contributions in the 2 most pivotal losses, amounting to just 8 catches for 70 yards with no touchdowns, underscored the Cowboys' struggle to convert talent into tangible results in high-stakes moments. As Dallas faces its final 3 games against formidable opponents, the overarching narrative is one of reflection, accountability, and a need for transformation. Jerry Jones' disappointment, Schottenheimer's admission of coaching errors, Prescott's resolve to lead with professionalism, and the players' inconsistent execution paint a picture of a franchise at a crossroads. The season has revealed both strengths and vulnerabilities, from flashes of offensive competence to glaring defensive lapses. Yet it has ultimately been defined by missed opportunities and unfulfilled potential. The Cowboys' path forward requires focus, strategic adjustments, and perhaps difficult decisions regarding personnel and coaching, all while navigating the pressures of fan expectations, organizational goals, and the relentless pace of the NFL calendar. Keep watching as we analyze more details about some rumors. Breaking news is starting to ripple through the NFL world, and it's the kind of rumor that makes fans hold their breath and analysts rethink every projection they've made for the coming season. The Dallas Cowboys, a franchise that has long carried the weight of expectations both enormous and often unfulfilled, are reportedly grappling with what could be a career-altering medical crisis. Sources close to the team are whispering about a serious concussion, sustained by none other than Dak Prescott, the quarterback whose arm, leadership, and game management have become central to Dallas' offensive identity. The term serious concussion is being tossed around, and in the high-stakes universe of professional football, that is a phrase heavy with consequence. For a quarterback whose health is already a topic of constant scrutiny, This could signal a turning point not just in the immediate season, but potentially in his entire career trajectory. Speculation is growing that the 2025 campaign for the Cowboys could be in jeopardy. Imagine a team meticulously built around the talents of a single, high-caliber signal caller suddenly confronting the very real possibility that their leader might be sidelined indefinitely. The implications are staggering. Coaches are now reportedly weighing contingencies that might have once seemed unthinkable. Backup quarterbacks, often seen as placeholders or developmental projects, are suddenly thrust into the glaring lights of starting roles, and the entire offensive scheme may need a recalibration that could ripple throughout the entire league. If Dak Prescott is indeed facing a severe concussion, it could upend game plans, trade talks, and even draft strategies, leaving the Cowboys scrambling in ways fans have only feared in their worst scenarios. Within the locker room, insiders suggest that there is a palpable tension, a nervous energy that comes when the foundation of a team feels as though it might be cracking. Prescott is not just a player, he is a symbol of stability for the Cowboys' offense, and his health has always been intertwined with the hopes of both fans and teammates. Speculative reports indicate that team doctors are leaving no stone unturned, conducting exhaustive neurological evaluations and considering protocols that could keep Prescott off the field longer than anyone wants to admit. The medical staff is rumored to be extremely cautious, understanding that pushing a player back too soon after a serious concussion could have consequences far beyond the immediate season. The word being whispered in the corridors of the AT&T Stadium is that the Cowboys could be facing a scenario where the quarterback who has carried so many expectations might need weeks, or even months, of careful rehabilitation before returning to the field, if at all this year. Off the field, the ripple effects are beginning to appear. Analysts are speculating that Dallas' offensive playbook may be rewritten, or at the very least, heavily modified, to accommodate a quarterback who is either not yet ready or to experiment with alternatives in Prescott's absence. Rumors have started circulating about potential trades or emergency signings, and while nothing has been confirmed, the very fact that such conversations are reportedly taking place adds to the sense of urgency and instability surrounding the franchise in a league where momentum and confidence can turn on a dime. The Cowboys are facing a moment that could define the 2025 season long before any playoff scenarios are realistically even considered. Fans are growing anxious, with social media buzzing with speculation and worry. While sports pundits debate endlessly about what a worst-case scenario might look like, there is also a human element here that cannot be ignored. Dak Prescott, a player known not just for his statistics, but for his leadership and the way he carries himself under pressure, is reportedly grappling with the mental and emotional strain that comes with a serious concussion. Beyond the physical toll, neurological injuries carry a weight that is invisible but deeply felt. Teammates are said to be rallying around him, yet there is a quiet fear in the air, a recognition that this is not just a routine injury that can be brushed off with a few days of rest and ice packs. The speculative nature of this rumor does not diminish its seriousness. In fact, it intensifies it, because the unknown often creates more tension than a confirmed diagnosis ever could. Some insiders are even suggesting that the Cowboys front office is beginning to examine more radical options than the average fan might expect. Could the team pivot mid-season, leaning heavily on younger talent or making strategic acquisitions to fill the void that Prescott might leave? While such discussions are unconfirmed, the mere fact that they are rumored indicates that the organization is bracing for a scenario that could completely derail its plans. It is as though the very structure of the team, meticulously crafted over years of strategy, could be at risk of collapse, leaving the franchise scrambling to find a foothold in an increasingly competitive league. The concept of a collapse might sound dramatic, but for a team built around one quarterback, it is not far-fetched at all. The 2025 season could suddenly shift from one of hope and expectation to one of uncertainty and emergency measures. The speculation surrounding Prescott's health has ignited debates across the NFL community. Former players, commentators, and analysts are weighing in, dissecting every possible scenario. Some argue that the Cowboys' offensive line and supporting cast might be able to carry the team through a transitional period, but others warn that the loss of a starting quarterback of Prescott's caliber could expose weaknesses that had previously been masked. The rumor mill is rife with what-if scenarios, each one more dramatic than the last, from mid-season trades to emergency starts from players who had never been expected to take center stage. The uncertainty is palpable. And as the story continues to unfold, it feels as though the entire franchise is teetering on the edge of a crisis that could define not just this season, but potentially Prescott's legacy and the team's trajectory for years to come. In the world of professional football, the word rumor is often loaded with caution and skepticism. Yet in this case, every shred of insider chatter points to the possibility of a seismic shift. The Cowboys, who have long been counted on to provide excitement and competitiveness, might instead become a cautionary tale about the fragility of even the most carefully constructed rosters as the league watches closely. The question on everyone's mind is not just about whether Prescott will return quickly, but about what the team will look like in his absence. Will the supporting cast rise to the occasion? Or will the team's championship aspiration crumble under the weight of uncertainty? For fans, the speculation is almost unbearable, because hope and fear are intermingled in ways that only sports can evoke. While medical evaluations are ongoing and no official statements have been made, the rumor has already set the stage for a dramatic narrative that could dominate headlines for weeks, if not months. Every practice, every team meeting, every glance at the depth chart is now being interpreted through the lens of Prescott's potential absence. The 2025 season, which began with dreams of dominance and playoff contention, is suddenly clouded with the shadow of doubt. Speculators are imagining scenarios where the Cowboys must reinvent themselves, relying on strategy, depth, and perhaps a touch of luck to navigate a landscape that had once seemed so certain. The notion that one injury could so dramatically alter the course of a franchise is a reminder of the fragility of sports, and for Dallas, it might be a test unlike any other as the story continues to evolve. The NFL world is holding its collective breath. Rumors may solidify into facts, or they may dissipate with new information, but for now, the speculation itself is enough to captivate, worry, and energize fans and commentators alike. The Cowboys are reportedly facing a moment of truth, and while the full scope of Dak Prescott's situation remains unclear, the mere possibility of a serious concussion has injected a level of drama and urgency that no preseason hype could ever match. The 2025 season is teetering. The team's strategy is under scrutiny, and the questions about Prescott's health and the Cowboys' ability to adapt are dominating conversations across the league. Every fan, analyst, and casual observer now finds themselves drawn into a narrative of uncertainty, suspense, and high stakes, because if the rumors are true, what seemed like a routine season could transform into one of the most pivotal chapters in Dallas Cowboys history. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your fellow NFL fans. Stay tuned for more updates, only here on NFL News Now.